Over 50? The unlikely revolution of the daily sumo squat. Forget what you think you know about fitness after 50. Forget the gentle walks, the light resistance bands, the vague notion of staying active. We're entering different territory here. We're talking about a single, deliberate, profoundly physical act, repeated daily. We're talking about the sumo squat. This isn't about sculpting a bodybuilder's physique or chasing fleeting vanity. This is about something far more critical, the deliberate, daily act of not surrendering. The sumo squat, performed with consistency and intelligence, becomes less of an exercise and more of a daily referendum on your own autonomy. It's a vote, with your body, for a different kind of future. So, what happens if you, over 50, commit to doing the sumo squat every single day? The answer isn't a simple list of physiological tweaks. It's a cascade, a chain reaction that begins in the soles of your feet and reverberates through every aspect of your being. The anatomy of a stance. Why the sumo? First, understand the move. Unlike the classic squat with feet shoulder width, the sumo squat is a wide stance descent. Feet placed wider than the hips, toes pointed comfortably outward around 45 degrees. As you lower yourself, you push your hips back and down, keeping your torso as upright as possible, your knees tracking in line with your toes. You descend until your thighs are at least parallel to the floor, deeper if mobility allows. Then, you drive through your entire foot, engaging your glutes and inner thighs powerfully to return to stand. This wide stance is the master key. It uniquely targets the often neglected inner thigh muscles adductors and the powerful gluteus medius on the sides of your hips. These are your stability muscles. They are the forgotten guardians of your pelvis, your lower back, and your knees. And after 50, they are often silently atrophying, leading to a slow-motion collapse of your functional architecture. The cascade. What actually happens, week by week, month by month? The first fortnight, the reawakening days 1 to 14. You'll feel it immediately. Not in your quads so much, but in places you'd forgotten had nerves. The inner thighs whisper then shout their presence. The hips feel tight, a rustiness in the joints. You might be sore in places that surprise you, the very low back, the sides of your hips. This is not injury pain, this is the pain of reclamation. Your nervous system is remapping territory it had abandoned. The brain is firing up new, dusty neural pathways to muscles that have been on passive duty for years. You'll also notice your balance is wobbly. Holding that wide stance, staying upright, requires constant microcorrections. This is excellent. You are forcibly rebooting your proprioception, your body's sense of itself in space. Every stumble is a system update. The first plateau, integration months 1 to 3. The soreness fades. The movement becomes familiar. This is the danger zone, where boredom and the lack of dramatic change can derail you. But inside, profound shifts are cementing. Times the hip hinge becomes instinctual. You stop bending from your waist to pick up a grocery bag. You naturally push your hips back. This one movement pattern, learned from the squat, is a primary defender against debilitating lower back strain. Times the toilet test becomes effortless. Getting on and off low seats, gardening, playing with grandchildren, all require this powerful, controlled descent and rise. It stops being an exercise and starts being a practiced, vital life skill. Times the knee finds a friend. By strengthening the adductors and glutes, you create a muscular guy wire system that stabilizes the knee joint. That vague, worrying ache you felt going downstairs may begin to dissipate as muscles, not just grinding cartilage, start to share the load. The deep shift, transformation months 4 to 12. Now we move beyond maintenance into enhancement. The daily practice has created a new baseline. 1. Metabolic reignition. This is a compound movement engaging the largest muscle groups in your body. Doing it daily, Even for just 3 sets of 10 to 15 representatives, stokes your metabolic furnace. Muscle is metabolically expensive tissue. Building and maintaining it, especially in the powerful posterior chain, means your body burns more calories at rest. The insidious middle-age spread meets a formidable, daily opponent. 2. The postural revolution. Weak glutes and tight hips are the architects of the old-age posture, slumped shoulders, forward head, arched lower back. The sumo squat powerfully counteracts this. Strengthening the glutes pulls the pelvis into a neutral position. This adjustment travels up the spine like a straightened string. Shoulders naturally roll back. Head lifts. You don't just stand differently, you present differently to the world. You occupy space with authority again. 3. Bone density. The silent investment. Weight-bearing exercise is one of the few proven, non-pharmacological ways to stimulate bone remodeling. The vertical load of your own body weight and later, perhaps, holding a dumbbell or kettlebell sends a clear signal to your bones: stay strong. We are still building here. This is a long-term, silent dividend that pays off decades down the line, in the prevention of fragility and the preservation of independence. 4. The pelvic floor resonance. For both men and women, the deep, controlled breathing paired with the intra-abdominal pressure created during a proper squat has a tonic effect on the pelvic floor. It teaches coordination and strength in this crucial, yet often ignored, group of muscles. The benefits range from improved continence to enhanced sexual function, topics rarely discussed in mainstream fitness after 50, but of immense importance to quality of life. 5. The cognitive ripple. This is perhaps the most underrated effect. The act of committing to a daily, physically demanding practice requires discipline. It requires you to be present in your body, to listen to its feedback: is this stiffness or sharp pain? It is a daily meditation on self-efficacy. You prove to yourself, every morning or evening, that you are a person who follows through. This mindset begins to seep into other domains: diet, work, relationships. You've rebuilt a foundational pillar of self-trust. The non-negotiable caveats: doing it right. This is not a call to reckless abandon. The slogan "no pain, no gain" is a recipe for disaster after 50. The mantra must be consistency over intensity, form over ego. Times start with body weight only. For at least 2 months. Master the movement pattern. Feel every muscle. Times depth is a journey, not a destination. Don't force parallel if your hips scream. Go as low as you can with a neutral spine. Depth will come with increased mobility. Times warm-up is sacred. 5 minutes of leg swings, torso twists, cat-cow stretches, and ankle circles are non-negotiable. You are preparing a system, not just a muscle. Times listen to the weather of your body. Some days you'll feel stiff and creaky. Do your squat slower, with more focus on the stretch. Other days you'll feel springy. That's the day to add a few more representatives or hold the bottom position. This attunement is part of the training. Times rest is part of the program. Every day doesn't mean maxing out. It means practicing the movement. Some days might be just 2 sets of 10 as a moving meditation. This is about neurological patterning and blood flow as much as brute strength. Times when to add weight? Only when bodyweight squats feel effortless, your form is impeccable, and you have no joint pain. Start with a light kettlebell held at your chest goblet style. This further reinforces the upright torso. The holistic tapestry, beyond the physical. What you are really doing with this daily act is fighting the dominant narrative of decline. You are placing a stone in the river of time, altering its flow. The physical changes are the obvious signs, but the real transformation is in the relationship you have with your aging self. You stop seeing your body as a failing artifact and start seeing it as a capable, responsive partner. The stiffness in the morning becomes a conversation: what do you need today? not a verdict. The act of lowering yourself to the floor and rising again becomes a symbolic victory over the fear of falling, the fear of helplessness. It fosters a humility and a patience that youth rarely understands. You learn that progress is not linear. Some weeks you regress. You accept it. You adjust. You continue. This is wisdom earned through the body. You also become part of a quiet rebellion. In a culture that often sidelines the over 50, rendering them invisible consumers of anti-aging cream and retirement plans, you are engaging in a deeply subversive act. You are getting more capable. You are building a fortress of strength, stability, and resilience from the inside out. The long view, a year and beyond. Imagine a year from your first, tentative, wide stance squat. The movement is as natural as breathing. You notice. Times your walk has changed. It's not a shuffle, it's a purposeful stride, powered from the hips. Times you lift your grandchild, or a heavy bag of soil, without a second thought or a following twinge. Times travel becomes easier. You navigate airport terminals, hike on uneven vacation paths, rise from cramped car seats, all with a newfound grace and lack of apprehension. Times that doctor's appointment where they check your balance and lower body strength? You ace it. You're in a different percentile for your age. Times the anxiety about getting old hasn't vanished, but it has been marginalized by the concrete evidence of your own continued capacity. The sumo squat, done daily after 50, is not a magic bullet. It is a keystone habit. It is a deliberate, daily recommitment to agency. It tells your muscles, you are needed. It tells your bones, stay dense. It tells your nervous system, stay sharp. It tells your spirit, we are not done building. It is a simple move. Just a wide stance, a descent, and a rise. But in that simplicity lies a profound complexity of benefits. It is a physical prayer against entropy. A daily declaration that the narrative of your second half is not one of subtraction, but of focused, intelligent, powerful addition. So, you stand. You widen your stance. You take a breath, send your hips back, and lower yourself into the space of your future. You push through your feet, and you rise. And in that rise, you are not just lifting your body. You are lifting a standard. For today, and for all the days to come.